So how to test basic financial terms. Give non-finance staff a couple of options. So we want to know current assets. So any financially literate person would know what a current asset is. But in order to test your staff, give them multiple choice and say, what is a current asset? Is it an asset we currently have in the business? Is it an asset we can convert into money within 1 year? Is it an asset that's been fully paid off? Or is it an asset that's more than 50% paid off? So if people put an asset we currently have in the business, that is telling us that they don't understand how the term current is used within a finance setting, because it has got nothing to do with assets we currently have in the business. So it's not A. B is actually the correct answer, because the word current in finance has a very definite meaning. It means essentially 12 months or 1 year. So a current asset is money itself, or anything we can convert into money within 1 year. That would be our stock, that would be our debtors, things like that, things that are very liquid, not your buildings, not your equipment, because those are heavier assets, or let's call them non-current assets, much more difficult to sell. So this knowledge, a simple multiple choice test tells us where people are struggling, and tells us that they're either thinking a current asset is something we currently have, which it's not, or they're thinking C and D, that it's got to do with, it's a current asset if it's been paid off, 50% paid off, fully paid off. Nothing to do with that. In fact, paying off assets doesn't make them an asset or not. And this is something really important. Non-finance staff often think that assets, in order for something to be called an asset, it has to be fully paid off. It doesn't even have to be paid off at all. You could owe 100% on that asset, and it could still be a current asset. An asset is just something that we have in the business, not necessarily something that is paid off. So again, just a word we take for granted, the word asset, it's the word current asset. Non-finance staff fall apart. And if you see non-finance staff answering A, C, or D to this question, you immediately know that they don't understand what an asset is, and for sure what a current asset is. And then they for sure can't understand what a balance sheet is, because balance sheets are composed of 3 parts: assets, liabilities, and equity, where current asset is a subset of the assets section. So just these simple tests give us a very sort of deeper understanding into where people are struggling. Another question you could ask when it comes to basic financial terms: what is an accrual? Okay, that's a word that's thrown around the business a lot, the word accrual. So what is an accrual? Is it A, recording a future expense; B, putting aside money to pay a future expense; C, approximating how much we owe for a current expense; D, reversal of a current expense? So people get very, very confused. What does it mean? I have to accrue for this. Finance is saying we need to accrue for this. So is it A, recording a future expense? No, an accrual has nothing to do with a future expense. Okay, so therefore it's not A, and it's not B. It's not putting money aside. Okay, recording an accrual does not put money aside to pay a future expense, because an accrual, when we're recording an accrual, it's not for a future expense. The expense has already happened. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Let's say a company runs some financial training. So they book our Accounting Made Easy course. They book a group of 10 people, put them on our live virtual course. And it comes the end of the month, right? We're 29th of August today. It comes the end of the month. Finance says to the Learning and Development Department, where is the invoice from Accounting Made Easy, who ran that financial training for you? And Learning and Development says, we haven't received the invoice yet. So finance says, well, we're going to have to accrue for it. what was the amount meant to be that you had to pay. So they would have to take that amount and accrue for it, means record it as a liability, right? I.e., approximate how much we owe for a current expense. The expense has happened. So what is an expense? Expense means there's been usage. Have we used financial training? Yes, we've used it. The company's done the training. We have used that. So we now have to accrue for it. We have to record the expense and record that we owe that supply. And sometimes if we don't have the invoice, we might have to approximate. They said it would be X amount per person, so we have to accrue for that, record that as a liability to show we owe this supplier for a current expense, for usage we've already enjoyed. And just going through some basic multiple choice questions around accruals and around expenses and around income will let you know very quickly if staff understand financial terms.